It seems like only yesterday that we recorded episode 50. And here we are, 200 episodes and 4 years later, and still loving recording each podcast every Friday. But things don't stop at the recording stage. There's a whole lot of work going on to get each episode released. And trust me, it's not only me and Lesley doing this. As this is our 250th episode, we want to take you behind the scenes and acknowledge each person that is involved in making the Declutter Hub podcast what it is. This is your chance to get to know the people behind the podcast and to find out how a podcast goes from an idea to an episode.
You're listening to the Declutter Hub podcast, bringing you tried and tested, no-nonsense tips and advice from the leading experts in decluttering and organising your home. Now here are your hosts, Ingrid Jansen and Lesley Spellman.
Hello and welcome, listeners. I'm Ingrid.
And I'm Lesley.
If you're new to the Declutter Hub podcast, you're so welcome. What you'll find is that we try and find a fun factor in the serious business of decluttering. And if you've been here for a while, you know exactly what we mean. So thank you so much for listening.
If you'd like to get involved in conversations relating to this podcast, it all takes place in our Facebook group. So come and join our lovely, warm, supportive community. To find the Facebook group, go to declutterhub.com/group to find out more, or you can search for the Declutter Hub community on Facebook.
Well, Lesley, it's our 250th episode. I actually feel we should have like balloons and bunting and kazoos making noise and all of that kind of fun stuff.
Is it kazoos? I don't know. Is it kazoos?
So,
I don't know what they're called, those things. I know those like blowy things. There's like so many things that come out of your mouth, and I don't even know what the actual word for them is. And of course, as always, we're going to put it out there and go, what are those things that go, those kind of, what you mean?
Exactly. 250 episodes, 5 years of the Declutter Hub podcast. I mean, it's a bit mind-boggling, really, isn't it?
I know. I can just remember when back in like May 2018, right? So just over 5 years ago that you and I got together and we're like, okay, let's do something together. Sounds like fun. Should we do an online course? Should we do this? Should we do that? And we're like, no, we need to run a membership. That's what we need to do. And we also need to run a podcast. And so we started right at the beginning and we knew we wanted to do a podcast because what we knew is that we love talking, right? That's basically how it was like, how do we talk every week about decluttering and hopefully people will listen? And that's where we started the podcast back in 2018. And we were so tentative, weren't we, Ingrid? We just literally, we had no idea. We'd never even listened to a podcast. We had never even listened to a podcast, right? And so we were like, we know what it is. We know we kind of need one. We know we kind of want one. What do we need to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, how does that work? What do you need to do? And so we kind of ordered our microphones. We ordered our boom arms, which is the thing that you'll see here above my microphone. And then we started to delve deeper into the types of things that we needed, didn't we? And so, yeah. So today is all about the people behind the podcast, because even though this might seem a little bit like the Ingrid and Lesley show, it definitely is not, because there's a whole load of people behind the scenes who have made and continue to make this podcast what it is. And so today's about celebrating, acknowledging and thanking them, isn't it? Anyway, before we get started, before we start to acknowledge everybody else and celebrate them, can I just say I got my hair done for this podcast?
I know, it looks absolutely brilliant. So if you want to see Lesley's new look, you have to go onto YouTube and watch this episode there, because you can not only see the people behind this podcast, but also see Lesley's new look. So what are you waiting for? Find us on YouTube, find our channel, and you can then watch this podcast on there. So if you're like, wow, yes, I want to see how Lesley looks like and who are all these people that are involved in this podcast, tune in on our YouTube channel. Anyway, Lesley, yes, I mean, we are not alone, are we? I mean, you hear us every week. You see us. We have the Facebook group. We've got the podcast. We've got the membership. We've got our socials, and you only see us all the time. But there's quite a lot behind the scenes happen. There's quite a lot of people involved, right? To keep this ship on course.
Exactly. And it's not failed us yet, has it? Which is amazing. So taking us back to 2018, when we kind of got our equipment, we were like, here we go, let's get a microphone. And so we were literally on Google, like, what is the best microphone for a podcast? And of course, it brings out 450 different options. And we're like, we don't know anything about that, but let's just go for this one. It kind of worked. And then we were like, what's the next thing you need? So you need a microphone, you need a recording device. Okay, so what do we need next? And then it's like, you need music. We're like, we need music, right? So then we went down this rabbit hole of like trying to look at 5,000 different pieces of music that were available to podcasters, didn't we? And then I was like, you know what? I've got my lovely brother-in-law, Neil, who does that kind of thing. He kind of loves recording music all the time and does a fantastic job of it. So first things first, keep it in the family. We asked Neil to write the music, and we've also asked Neil to come on the podcast to talk about how that all works. So cue Neil.
Hello, my name's Neil Spellman, and you probably recognise that little piece of music. I did the music for the Declutter Hub podcast. I think it was about 5 years ago when Lesley asked me if I could do something. So what I thought I'd do today is to show you what the kind of song looked like in the computer. So it's a very simple track, which is all played on the keyboard and then recorded in a program called Logic on the Mac. I started off by programming this simple little bass line. And then we need some drums on top of that. Some twinkly bits to fill things out. And then these little flourishes kick in. Some bigger drums. And then the nice little melody that plays over the top. I was going through my files and I came across some of the other options that I sent Lesley to choose from. So I thought I'd play you some bits of them, see what you thought of them. Sounds like it should be in a nightclub, doesn't it, really? So didn't really suit, I think, the audience. Nah. It sounds quite nice, but again, it's not what I think Lesley was after. So the difficult thing, I don't think, is writing a piece of music. It's trying to do something in a short piece which captures the mood that is required. That was the difficult thing. Anyway, I just wanted to say congratulations on hitting the really impressive number of 250 episodes. And if you keep on going much longer, I'll probably have to write you a new piece of music before your listeners get sick of listening to this one. Anyway, cheers.
So everyone, that was Neil. And the funny thing is, because he is Lesley's husband's brother, when I saw this, because I've never met him, I've only seen him, I've only heard him, but I've never met him before. And I was like, wow, carbon copy of Steve. He sounds the same. He looks the same. This is so funny. So yeah, thank you, Neil, for doing our music.
I know, and it was so interesting to find out, to listen back, because we've obviously forgotten, haven't we? Neil sent us loads of different options of those dance beats, and we were like, yeah, it's a little bit too dancey, do you know what I mean, as he said on the recording. Ingrid was also like, what's with the horror dolls in the background? And I had to tell you, didn't I, that he loves a bit of horror, like he lives, eats and breathes horror. So yeah, so we started off with our music. Neil came up trumps. What the nice thing about the music is we literally get people saying to us, We love the music. Don't ever stop. It makes me bop around my living room while I'm doing my decluttering and all that kind of stuff. So we have no plans at all, even though Neil thinks that we might do. Maybe in 5 years. If we're hearing another 500 episodes, perhaps it'll be time to change the music, Ingrid. But for now, we love our Declutter Hub music, and we want to thank Neil, my lovely brother-in-law, massively for doing that.
Yes.
Then it was like, okay, so now we need a voiceover. That's the next thing that we thought that we needed, right? And then we were also like, do you know what? I have another member of the family who can totally do that, because I have a nephew who is an actor and presenter and does voiceovers all the time. So I approached Kel, or Kellock Spellman, as some of you might know him because he is on the TV, not just in the UK, actually, abroad. So cue Kellock.
Hello, my name is Kel Spellman, or you probably better know me as that voiceover voice you hear throughout the podcast episodes. I am also Lesley's very proud nephew. I just wanted to come on and say a massive congratulations and well done to Lesley and Ingrid for reaching the landmark 250th episode of the podcast series. I mean, that really is no small feat. And also, I don't know where that time has gone. It feels like only a few months ago I was here recording the lines for the opening and the intro and all the other little bits and bobs you hear, and we're now 250 episodes later. So a massive congratulations. I know how much goes into bringing these episodes to you and all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes with everything else that goes alongside the podcast. So yeah, a massive well done. And for myself, getting to be just a tiny little part of it and getting to work with my auntie is really cool and super great. So roll on the next 250. As I say, massive congratulations and well done, Lesley and Ingrid. And a massive thank you to everyone listening for getting involved and being a part of this community. It's really great and it makes a massive difference and is such a help, and hopefully you've enjoyed being a part of it as well, which I'm sure you have. Anyway, I won't waffle on much more, but Auntie Les, thanks for having me involved, and a massive congratulations, and enjoy the episode, and I'll see you soon, and you'll probably hear my voice even sooner. Lots of love.
So yes, that was Kel with his beautiful, soft, dulcet tones. And the funny thing is, he actually sent us like 18 different options in different ways you can actually say those sentences. So we actually had to pick one. Though it's all coming back to me now, Lesley. It was like buried somewhere in my brain that we did all of this. But kind of looking back, it's made me realize how far we've come, haven't we? And how much work has been put in throughout the years. But yes, Neil first, then Kellock with his voiceover. And it all started to come together, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So it was really good to ask Kel, because he was a Radio 1 DJ for a while. Yeah, we got all those different options, didn't we? We've got like Declutter Hub, Declutter Hub, Declutter Hub, like how we say it was like what we're going to choose. And we spent ridiculous amounts of time, didn't we, trying to work out which voiceover that we wanted. And so for those of you, I know loads of you all the time are like, I think I know that name. And certainly when Luke recorded the podcast with me, I'm like, oh, is he the one that does the voiceover? Because basically the Spellman family, like Neil sounds just like Steve, then Kel sounds like Luke. Like they keep it in the family. They all sound similar. So Kel is an actor, TV presenter, and a big advocate for sustainability, climate change, environment, all those kind of things. So you might have seen him in those fields in the UK. Also done stuff on Netflix, so he's worldwide as well. If you want to know more about him, he has his own podcast, the WWF podcast, did an amazing podcast with David Attenborough a couple of years ago, a year ago, 18 months ago, something like that. Anyway, you can find out a little bit more about him if you would like to, and he's at Kel Spellman. So yes, and then we continue to keep it in the family, right, Ingrid?
Yeah, it seems like
here. We basically pay nobody for anything,
and it seems like it's all your family. I trust me, my family gets roped in as well. We'll talk about them later. But yes, we then went, okay, we've now actually recorded a podcast. We've got a music, we've got a voiceover. We've decided what we want to chat about. But now we've got this raw file, it's called, with everything. But of course, we can't send out all the gibberish that we talk or the little mistakes we make. This file needs to be edited from a raw file to a clean file. And who did we get to do this?
Well, first things first, we got Leah to do it. So Leah worked for the Declutter Hub for like 18 months, I think, didn't she? So she had that. Well, to be fair, I was the first one who edited. So for a long time, I did the editing. Then when Leah came back from university and she worked for us for a while, didn't she? So then she edited the podcast. And then when she went on to Pastures New, as if she left the Declutter Hub, as if that's a thing to her own actual career. And then we wrote Nathan in, who's my youngest son. So let's hear from Nathan.
So my name's Nathan. I am Lesley's son. And as she said, I'm the podcast editor. I've been doing so for around 18 months now during my time at university. So I've just finished my second year at the University of Bristol. And so I sort of edit podcasts remotely throughout that time. And I suppose over that time, it's certainly evolved quite a lot, the role that I've done. Once upon a time, it was kind of about making executive decisions about which ums and ahs to leave in or take out. But as times move on, and as Ingrid and my mum have gotten just ever more slick, and
Slick's
they're
kind of a strange word for it, Nathan. I'm not going to lie. Slick. But thank you for saying that.
I think it's slick. I can tell you, it's, once upon a time, it's gone from a podcast, and this is probably about me getting maybe a little bit more slick as well. But, once upon a time, it would probably take me 90 minutes, 2 hours possibly to edit one of the episodes down. And now some of them are probably, I can probably do in sort of 35, 40 minutes, probably just like 5 minutes long, the raw footages. So I guess that's indicative of the sort of number of mistakes that are being made being infinitely lower. But I guess also this kind of evolution of my role has come alongside, and I guess some of the sort of keen-eyed among your listeners might have noticed that we've started to transcribe the podcasts. So that's changed the role I do a little bit. We've sort of moved away from a different software. We've moved away from what was called Camtasia towards Descript instead. And so as opposed to editing on a sort of traditional kind of audio track, now I almost edit in what's almost like a kind of word editor in effect. So as opposed to cutting off like sound bites and sound files or sound waves or whatever you want to call them, now I almost just select and backspace words. So it's made it a lot easier in that respect. And it's genius. The way the AI transcribes is like awe-inspiring, really, isn't it?
Well, we're very excited actually to be able to transcribe. It's been something that's been prohibitively expensive until this point. But then this new piece of software came along that made it affordable to kind of podcasters like us. And so it was just executing on that. And so Nathan's been the one that's doing that. And now we're retrospectively doing all our transcriptions. So we're working on that at the moment. But obviously with 250 podcasts, that's quite an undertaking. So Nathan, so you're getting the raw edits of the podcast, right? And so you've definitely got a little bloopers reel for our eyes only, right? And so what sort of things do you want to share with our listeners? What are the kind of things that you typically hear when we're recording our podcasts?
Oh, how honest do you want me to be? A lot of swearing, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. No, I mean, I get a lot of, Nathan, you go back there, please. And so actually, now that we've moved on to this audio file thing, I've actually realised that I can just sort of Control F and search for my name. And that works as quite a nice way to get rid of stuff quite quickly. But yeah, I mean, some of it's just like and ahhing over words in particular. I mean, my mum, for example, she doesn't enjoy scripted stuff. She likes to just say things off the cuff and does so wonderfully. But scripted stuff is not really her jam, whereas Ingrid is really, really phenomenal at that. So I do a lot of back and forth whenever you have to do anything scripted, which is always quite funny.
So that's why Ingrid does all of the intros and all that kind of stuff, because they're kind of scripted a little bit. And so she does all those because I have to do them about 10 times basically before I get it right, as all our guests that so if it's me with a guest, you'll see I'm doing the intros, but typically on all the other podcasts, it's Ingrid that does them all. So Nathan, we're 250 podcasts in. What has it been like working for your mother?
Interesting. It's never boring. It's obviously at times somewhat complex to navigate like sort of familial employment. It always will be. But then on the flip side of that, I think especially obviously the time in which I've done it from my first year into now finishing second year, when I first kind of started university and I was navigating the sort of strange and bizarre depths of what that entails, it was really quite nice to have that sort of bit of home sat in my laptop every week that I could kind of sit and watch and do, even as bizarre as that maybe sounds. So yeah, I really enjoyed it in that sense, particularly last year. And yeah, now increasingly it's a really, for me selfishly, I always think it's quite a good little CV booster. And friends always think it's quite interesting, and people think it's this sort of really elusive thing with the podcast editing. And you follow up by saying, and congratulations to my mum and Ingrid to this. Oh yeah, they're also in the top 1% of podcast downloads globally. People always really think that's really quite cool, and it really is. So yeah, it's a real pleasure to get to do this, and I'm really fortunate to be able to have that kind of flexibility built into my university life.
What we sort of do when anybody in the family is involved, we typically flip over. So Ingrid is the one that will deal with you more than me, because then the lines get blurred a little bit when you're at university, and I don't want to talk to you about work all the time. I want to talk to you about university. And so it kind of, the lines get blurred. So I think that's been an important thing to have as well. So yeah, thank you so much for doing all those podcast episodes and for listening to us week in and week out. I just hope that your decluttering skills have got better, Nathan.
Do you mean I think I'm great? I mean, I don't really have much attachment to stuff, sort of, contrary to my brother and my dad. I'm kind of a little bit like too haphazard to actually care about things.
I think the resets need a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie. I think the resets do need a tad of work, Nathan. But other than that, I'm going to say thank you very much for doing everything, and we'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
So that was Nathan. And let me tell you, as you can probably tell, he can talk as much and as quick as his mother, because once the boy starts to talk, he never stops.
Yeah, that was the edited version. Yeah, I was like, Nathan, it's only supposed to be 2 minutes. Like, it can't be. And it was like 15 minutes long. I'm like, yeah, we need to rein that in a little bit. He likes to talk. All my family like to talk. Luke's podcast was an hour. Nathan's the thing. Yeah, I could go on for decades talking. We basically like to talk, and make no apologies for that, Ingrid. But yeah, so Nathan continues to do all of our editing on the podcast, and we're eternally grateful because he keeps us on the straight and narrow, doesn't he, Ingrid?
Yeah. I mean, without Nathan, there would not be a podcast coming out. Let me tell you that. He has helped us so much with everything behind the scenes and all the changes that we've made over the years as well. Yeah. So thank you, Nathan, for all of your work that you've done for us.
So there came a point, Ingrid, that we kind of had to start. I'm not saying that we didn't pay Nathan and Leah, by the way, but there did come a point at which we had to start going outside of the family, into the big, wide business world. And to know more, to find out more about the podcast, and then to develop the podcast into our membership, which sits alongside it, we started to look for somebody who knew a lot about memberships. And so we found the lovely membership geeks, Mike and Callie, ages ago, right, Ingrid? Like, right at the very beginning, before we even started. So we would not be here today doing what we do if it wasn't for the lovely Mike and Callie. And Callie is here to say a few words.
Hi, Lesley and Ingrid. It's Callie here from the Membership Geeks and Membership Academy. And I just wanted to take a quick minute to wish you a huge congratulations on 250 episodes of the podcast. That is a huge, huge achievement. And I hope you are really proud of yourself, and that all of your listeners are giving you lots of love today, because I'm sure you have helped so many people declutter their lives and their homes. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you both over the last few years, and to see the Declutter Hub and your membership flourish and grow. Although, as you can probably tell from my office, I probably need to take some of your advice myself. I have loved getting the chance to actually meet you both in person several times as well, around the country, including here in Newcastle, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the near future too. It's been wonderful to be part of your journey and to see how hard you work to ensure everyone from your members to your listeners get the best experience and value possible. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where the next 250 episodes of the podcast take you, and to watching the membership continue to grow further as well. Take care, guys, and huge congratulations again. I hope you're celebrating, and I hope there is cake involved.
So yes, thank you so much, Mike and Kelly, for your support with our membership. But of course, besides the membership, we needed to have a website. And of course, the podcast needed to be on a website. And that's where Caesar comes in.
Hello, Ingrid and Lesley. This is Caesar Pinto. I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate this incredible milestone of reaching the 250th episode of the Declutter Hub podcast. Wow, what a trip. From day one, it's been an absolute pleasure to be part of your journey, supporting you as the dedicated developer behind the scenes. I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to work alongside both of you. And being part of your team has been an absolute delight. And I mean that. The synergy we have developed, the trust we share, and our shared passion for making a difference have made every moment truly rewarding. It's an honor to be part of your team, and I look forward to continuing this amazing journey together. I'm excited about what the future holds for you both. And as we celebrate this milestone, I want to express my gratitude for your trust and collaboration. I may play a small role as a developer, but it's your vision and determination that have made the Declutter Hub a beacon of support and inspiration for so many. And here is to many more episodes, more lives changed, and more clutter conquered. Thank you for allowing me to be part of it all, and cheers to the continuous growth and success of the Declutter Hub.
So to explain a little bit about what Caesar does for us, basically, we have two websites. We have the website that the podcast is on. We have the website that the membership material is on. And Caesar is our designer, developer, fixer, kind of, oh, Caesar, I don't really know how to do this. Can you make it look pretty kind of person? And
all-round amazing person.
Absolutely. And we have what's called a Slack channel. For those of you who don't know, it's like a kind of almost like an instant messaging type thing, but it keeps things in a nice way. So we communicate via Slack with Caesar. So we've never actually had a face-to-face meeting with Caesar. We communicate by Slack, which we thought was quite strange at the beginning, didn't we, Ingrid? We were like, well, that's quite strange because that's not the way we do it here in the UK. But typically, I say it probably is now, to be fair, but it's a long time that we've been working with Caesar. And now we use Slack all of the time for most of the communication that we do with people outside. And so we absolutely love it. So Caesar, you are amazing. You are everything. And you have made the Declutter Hub what it is today, because without a website and all the technology that sits behind everything, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the membership site, we don't have the Declutter Hub, right?
I know. So as well from me, Caesar, thank you so much for being such an integral part of everything that we do, and for your incredible optimism always, because you're such a cheerleader from the sidelines. And it gives us so much, I think, confidence in ourselves as well, that we can do it. You can do it. Yeah, it's going great. Just keep going. And that's exactly what we're doing, aren't we, Lesley? We just keep going with the podcast, with the membership. We keep going.
Exactly. So we're very lucky to have some of these people that we found. We found some incredible people right from the start, with Mike and Calais, with Caesar. So we're so lucky. And then later into our journey, we knew that we wanted to kind of start to think about the way that we write things a little bit more. So the kind of things that you will see, descriptions of things, web pages that we've got, and so on. And so then we approached the lovely Laura, who we also love to bits, to help us with what's called website copy. So she looks at the things that are written on our pages and helps us massively with that. And so here's Laura to say a few words.
Congratulations, Lesley and Ingrid, on your 250th podcast episode. What an amazing achievement. It was an absolute pleasure to work with you on your website copy and to help channel that enthusiasm that you have for the work that you do into your website content, so that people in your audience could feel it in the way that I could feel it when I was talking to you. And I guess they feel it when they listen to your podcast episodes. Well done on such incredible consistency and determination, and on never running out of things to say. I hope that you're celebrating in style, because you've definitely earned it. And thanks for allowing me to be a part of your business so far.
So thank you, Laura, for your lovely message. We've learned so much from you, and we continue to learn from you. And it's just great to have you in our little world as well, with all of this writing. I mean, Lesley is our main writer here. Let's be honest. I do a lot of the other stuff, but Lesley writes a lot. So she's been working a lot with Laura. But yeah, changed a lot, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, no, she's absolutely fab. We love having, strong, characterful individuals, don't we, really, in our world? And we also often get naturally drawn to duos as well, don't we?
Now, oh my gosh, Lesley, so many people. I mean, I really hope that the listeners are probably going, wow, I just thought you'd just press record and just throw something out there. But to have to do this every week for 250 episodes, you need to have knowledge. You need to know how to do things. And that's, I think, what all these people bring us. They teach us something that we think, oh yeah, we can work with that. We can learn from that. But of course, we also step away from our own computer. And that's how we ended up meeting Penny.
I know, the lovely Penny. So Penny came to us via the podcast, right? So Penny found us because of the podcast. And Penny was like, I like what I hear on those podcasts. And how much do we love Penny? She is such a fantastic lady. And she is the host and creator of the Clean and Tidy Home Show. So when she heard our podcast, she was like, we need to take this podcast onto a bigger stage. And so out into the big wide world. And so she asked us to be speakers at the Clean and Tidy Home Show last year, which some of you will have heard about because we talked about it. We've interviewed Penny. We're interviewing Penny again in a couple of weeks again about the Clean and Tidy Home Show, because it's such a fantastic show for both cleaning, decluttering and organizing and tidying, all of those things related. But it's all hinged together by this kind of community of people. And we absolutely love that, right, Ingrid?
Yeah.
So we couldn't wait to go on the stage, and we did so at the Clean and Tidy Home Show last year. So let's hear a few words from Penny.
Hello, my name is Penny Moises and I'm the founder of the Clean and Tidy Home Show. Congratulations, Ingrid and Lesley, on the 250th episode of the Declutter Hub. I was really fortunate to have the opportunity to work with Ingrid and Lesley last year on the inaugural Clean and Tidy Home Show, where they delivered a session on our main stage called Decluttering, Organising and Where Cleaning Fits In. It was a great scene setter, and I'm really grateful that they shared their expertise and knowledge with our audience, which included podcast listeners and their membership too. I really was grateful for the opportunity to feature on a podcast as well as sponsor a number of sessions last year, and I'm excited to return again soon. I love Ingrid and Lesley's energy, especially when they're having a lot of fun, but it really is infectious, and also their shared values around no judgment and no shame, which totally align with ours. Congratulations again, Ingrid and Lesley. I'm super excited to see where you take your podcast in the future and look forward to returning soon.
Thank you so much, Penny, for your lovely message. We love hanging out with you too. So thank you so much for being such a supporter of the Declutter Hub. And we've been delighted to have stayed in touch after the Clean and Tidy Home Show and to stay involved with the show, of course.
So Ingrid, of course, there's a lot of family connections within the podcast, but it's not just the Spellman family that are involved, right? We wrote the Johnson family in as well.
Yes, yes.
Family connections.
I know. Because, of course, I was like, wow, everybody in the Spellman side is getting involved. I'm sure I can find something to do for people in my family. So Q Max, who has been helping us as well with some podcast changes, with some podcast edits and things. So have a listen to Max, my son. Well, this is a whole family affair because, of course, Lesley has got everybody in her family dragged into helping in the Declutter Hub, but so do I. So you will hear that my husband is involved, but also my son Max is involved as well. So hello, Max.
Hello.
So what do you do for the Declutter Hub?
It's mostly just back-end stuff for the Declutter Hub. I help out with the podcast and making sure everything is in line with the podcast. We recently got new software, so I've been working to backtrack and update all of the podcasts so far. I also do stuff for the website to make the website look nice, and sometimes I help out just random questions as well.
Yes. So it's been a little job for you, hasn't it? Because I mean, I know people do a lot of volunteering for us, but for you and also for Nathan, it's been a job, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of course you're both, students. You need to earn a bit of money. So how has it been to work for your mom?
Well, you don't really get a lot of private time because you do get sort of reminders outside of work that you need to do this and that, but mostly it's fine.
Yes. Well, Max, we wanted to say thank you on behalf of Lesley and me. Thank you so much for your help behind the scenes. People don't see your job and what you do, but for us, it's really important and it makes us look hopefully even more professional. We put a lot of time and effort into the podcast. We want to make sure that our listeners have a good experience, and you are a part of that whole process. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been good for 250 episodes so far. Letting me have a small task to get on with.
Exactly. So thanks, Max. And we hope you will do many, many more jobs for us because we are going to keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you for that message, Max. That was like the shortest message ever because I don't think he really wanted to be videoed. He was like, why do I need to be in your podcast. I just want to be behind the scenes. And I'm like, this is not a moment to be shy, Max. Normally you talk for England and now you currently have nothing to say. But I think he just wanted to keep it short and sweet.
And I think Ingrid was like, Max, you need to do more because those Spellmans have had at least 15 minutes of airtime and we need to do our bit. It's a two-way thing here. You know what I mean? Speak some more, speak some more.
Yes. So then I thought, there is one other person that I need to record a video with, and that is my lovely husband, Jan. Now, you know how much I love to talk. The opposite is my husband, who doesn't really like to talk. So also getting this video out of him was like pulling teeth, but he did it because I really, really, really asked him to. So here's Jan. Well, this is interesting, me interviewing you, Jan. So tell us, what do you do in the Declutter Hub? Because we get everybody involved, don't we, Lesley and I?
Yes, you do. And I'm the appointed volunteer to look after your finances.
Yes, but we didn't just randomly pick you, did we? I mean, you actually work in finances.
Yes, I do. In daily life, I work actually in a hotel as a finance director.
So you are the perfect person to make sure that we actually know what's going on in our company, right?
I hope so, because I try and tell you every month and see what the state of affairs is.
Exactly. So you make sure that you do our monthly accounts and you do our taxes. You basically make sure that we have everything in tickety-boo order, so we can just focus on decluttering and organizing and working with our amazing members and recording this podcast.
Exactly. I'll try and keep you on the straight and narrow.
And tell us when we're spending too much money.
Yes.
Well, let's be honest here. We could not have done it without you. I mean, both me and Lesley are like, finance is like our worst nightmare. We know it has to be done. We know it needs to be done properly. But I kind of went, I think I might know somebody who can do this for us. And it's been absolutely amazing. You've been the appointed volunteer for 5 years now, and you're doing an amazing job. So I just wanted to say thank you.
You are very welcome. And here's to the next 5 years.
Well, I hope so too. Well, this is podcast 250. So let's hope on many more podcasts. Let's hope on many more fun and lots of stuff out there that we're doing. And thank you so much for all of your help.
You're very welcome. Congratulations on your 250th episode. And hopefully a lot more to come. And a great way to enjoy the Declutter Hub.
That is most certainly short and sweet, but the job that he does is like so important because it's the kind of things that makes you and I want to run for the hills. Like we're really not that interested in the financial side of it because it just quite often makes for quite depressing viewing, to be fair. So we like to live in la la la, you know, a complete oblivion about those kind of things, and it keeps us on track, doesn't it? You know, when we go out with our Declutter Hub credit card out on the rouse, he's like, hey girls, not as much next time. There's many other things that he keeps us track on, but keeps us on track with, but that is one of the things.
Yeah,
so
I think, to be honest, Lesley, when I kind of said, oh honey, we're setting up a business together, me and Lesley, can you just help us a little bit, because you are a director of finance, you know about these things. I don't think he really could have known what he got himself into, right? Because it kind of went from, we just need to give a bit of an overview, maybe set up a bank account or something, but it's kind of gotten quite a big job. So he's like, Ingrid, come on, you need to keep growing, because then I can give up my job and work for you alone.
Yeah, don't hold your breath there, Jan. Don't hold your breath. But thank you for your positivity.
Yes.
So we're coming to the end now. But honestly, there's one person, isn't there, in our world that holds us both together, that is absolutely incredible, that we couldn't do what we do. She suffers us on a daily basis, God love her. And she really is the kind of, she's our administrator, she holds it all together. And let's go to her interview and see what it is that she does for us.
Here's the lovely Ross.
Before we get started on our lovely interview with Ross, Ingrid, I have to tell everybody, Ingrid wasn't supposed to be part of this recording of this interview with our lovely Ross, our assistant. but she's just come back from her TV appearance, and it seems such a shame to let all that beautiful makeup and hair go to waste. And so we've invited her on. And so now, because you've been such a TV star today, Ingrid, I'll let you take the reins. Continue down your PR route.
Well, thank you very much. I was feeling very glamorous when I was being made up by the makeup ladies, and they did a really good job by making me look half decent. So I'm very, very pleased. But anyway, let's be honest here, Lesley. We could not do what we do if it wasn't for Roz. Isn't that right?
That is absolutely right. Roz so she sits there quietly, not getting a word in, standard, right? So over to you, Roz. Let's talk about your role, what it is you do for the Declutter Hub, what it's like working with us. Ingrid, have you got any questions for Roz? Let's kick it off.
Yes, well, let's start there. What do you do for us, Roz, besides loads?
Well, yeah, it's quite a range, really. You know, a lot of kind of administrative work with the podcast, the support tickets, the success sessions, of course, which are really fun to host. Yeah, lots of stuff in the background, which is where I feel the most comfortable, as you can probably tell.
Everything that we don't want to do, right? Is that
yeah,
definitely getting there. There's a bit of like, yeah, maybe Roz would like to do that.
Well, it is true, Roz. I mean, without you, we could not do everything that we do, right? Because the emails get sent out, because you help schedule them. You know, there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows. But how is it to work with me and Lesley? Because we're two quite different people, right?
Yeah, that's been really interesting, actually, because, yeah, very, very different approaches, I think, to the way you work. We've got kind of Ingrid, who is all over the detail, very, very organised and kind of lists. And then there's Lesley, who is a little bit more kind of big picture and throws things out there and is... I don't know how to describe it.
I can't believe you're struggling. You're definitely struggling. Just say it how you see it, Roz. What is it that you want to say? I'm like, come on.
I think the right word. Yeah, you know.
I think the listeners know after 250 podcasts as well. They've got slightly different styles, I'm not going to lie. So, but it's so important for us, Roz, to have you as, you know, you really are the backbone of everything that we do here at the Declutter Hub. I think, you know, you're going more and more, even though you want to be in the background, you know, you definitely are not in the membership. So you're an integral part of the membership in the same way that Ingrid and I are as well. I think that's so important. And the members love seeing you. And they've never said, why doesn't Lesley do the success sessions? Never, no one's ever asked for me.
No, thank you, Roz, for helping us making it all happen. I mean, you know, these especially these podcast episodes as well. You are an integral part of making it all happen and making sure that we can do a new episode. We've never done a rerun of anything every Friday, and we're very proud of that. But we couldn't do it without you, honestly.
Oh, well, it's really lovely to be part of the team. I really enjoy it, and you know, it's great fun, and I think it's just amazing that you've kind of reached that kind of 250 podcast milestone. So hats off to you both. You do an amazing job.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Roz. So yes, Lesley, poor Roz. I mean, you could not work with two more different people than you and I. So I think she's just kind of going, okay, they want this, they want that. What's the middle ground here? Where's the balance? Because we have such a different way of working, the two of us. And
but to be fair, I am a little bit like, you know, it keeps getting banded about that I'm not a details person. Now I'm completely like, how detailed am I, Ingrid? I'm literally don't let anything slip by now. So it's like, it's almost as if I'm away with the fairies, not doing anything. And she couldn't even find a word for it. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know whether Roz is long for this life.
But without, you know, joking aside, Roz, you are absolutely amazing. You help us so much. Our members absolutely love you. You are so brilliant in getting quick replies to our members. and to make sure that we give the best customer service out there. And we take that really seriously, don't we? And Ross is a main part in that as well. And also Ross helps us with this podcast. Obviously, she makes sure that everything on the website is all in order and that we get a podcast out to you every Friday. We've never done a repeat. Ever. We've never said, well, here's an old show to listen to, or we love this, there's a flashback. We are here every week with some new content in your ears. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride.
So that's, what is it, like 10 people that are involved? Something like 10 people that are involved in the kind of behind the scenes of the podcast and a little bit in the membership. And yeah, it's amazing, really. There's a lot that goes into the back of recording a podcast to get it to be the podcast that you all hear on a Friday. I think there's 2 other people that I want to thank. I'm going to get the slushy stuff out of the way and say thank you so much to my gorgeous business partner, Ingrid, who's absolutely incredible, turning up, keeping me on track every week. And mainly, we just have such a laugh. I love doing it, and we just have such a laugh. Yeah. Even though sometimes on our podcast recording days, because we do record 2 or 3 podcasts together on one day, they can be quite a long, hard day, because we literally come at the beginning of the day with no ideas normally, and then have 3 podcasts in its raw format, sometimes 4 if we're doing really well by the end of it. And we wouldn't get through it if we didn't laugh through the podcast and laugh around the podcast. So I want to thank you for being an amazing business partner. I don't think we had any ideas back 5 years ago that it would be that this fantastic kind of relationship that we've got together would evolve to such a stage. We were great friends before, and we knew we had something, but I think the way that it has gone in the past 5 years, where we've absolutely become best friends and created something where other people see that outside, is so important to me, because it is quite hard doing all of these things every week.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't do it unless you're having a laugh, would you?
I know. Honestly, I couldn't do it with anybody else, Lesley, and you know that. And I love you absolutely to bits. And we've got tough times. Things get hard sometimes when you run a business, and you've got so many people that you want to help and that you want to be for. And we love our members so much as well. We love our communities, and I honestly, I couldn't do without you. And I think it's just been such an absolutely blast to get to 250 podcasts, and we still have not, we're not even talked out, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic, Lesley. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know I'm not the easiest person in the world sometimes.
I think we both have that banner, but but I think that, just to sort of finish off, really, I think there's some things that also make us very happy. And it's never really about the numbers, but sometimes it's the numbers that make you think. It's the people that sit behind the numbers, if that makes sense. And so, we talk a lot about the fact that we're a top 1% podcast in the world, which is so incredible that 2 friends who were just doing it with the same podcast mic that we got 5 years ago. We don't have any slick systems here. We have a lot of people helping us behind to get the podcast over the line, and we invest in good technology to do that, but we keep it quite simple. And so we're astonished that we've managed to make such an impact to so many people, that we continually grow every single month. We're doing amazingly well at the moment. Our numbers are going through the roof. We'd love you to share it with other people if you love what you hear as well. So do leave those reviews, do share with other people. But before we go, we have to say a massive thank you to you guys every single week for listening, for tuning in, for supporting us, for leaving those reviews, for leaving those comments, for sending us those emails. All of those things make such a massive difference, because we need to know here, sitting behind our computers, that it's having an impact on you, and that you guys are making progress in your decluttering journey because of the things that we say. Sometimes, not all of them, sometimes we talk complete nonsense, but sometimes, hopefully, some of the things that we say make some sense.
I know. So, keep, hitting that follow button in your podcast player, subscribe to our YouTube channel, send us comments, send us reviews, because then we know that we are resonating with you guys. And especially to the people who have listened to all of the podcasts, and we know you're out there. You've listened to all of our episodes. we give you a heartfelt thanks because we could not be here without you. So thank you so much for your support. We will keep going. There will be a new podcast episode next week. We will keep bringing in interesting guests. We will keep doing the 10 Things podcast because we love our community so much. And we know that decluttering is hard, but if you can laugh about it a little bit and make it lighthearted and have some fun, and that is the whole idea behind this podcast, then we are on the right track. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts, and we'll see you next week for a new episode.
Thanks so much for listening to the Declutter Hub podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to us in your podcast player so you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you next week.